Welcome to the HR Happy Hour Live. We're coming to you from iSolved Connect in Palm Desert, California. My name's Steve Bose. I'm joined by Kimberly Crawford. Kimberly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for joining us. You're our first interview of the day, so thank you for being our little bit of a guinea pig out here at
Thank
iSolved.
you for having me.
Kimberly, you're the Director of HR at Southeast Mississippi Rural Health Initiative. I was about to ask you where you're from, and then I read your title, and I think I know, at least I know where you live. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about the organization?
Sure. So we're a federally qualified health center in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. We have 17 locations throughout the Southeast, and we're mainly primary health care, serving the underserved communities in our area. I am the Director of HR there. I handle everything HR, employee relations, hiring, firing, you name it. I do it all.
Wow. Healthcare HR is probably, I mean, not just the front lines of the workforce over the last few years, but certainly the front lines of HR. And we hear so much about healthcare HR, persistent hiring challenges, retention challenges. Have you seen that, and are you still seeing that in your organization?
Absolutely. I was talking to my colleagues just last week on where are all the nurses going? Where are all the doctors going? It's still really, really hard. Historically, healthcare has always been difficult to staff for. And ever since the Great Resignation and the pandemic, we have nurses, healthcare providers in general, getting out of the field. So it makes our job a lot harder to find people to want to work and can work, or what makes us different is kind of our obstacle today to try to attract a different type of workforce that we're in right now.
Yeah, it's probably about trying to find what makes your organization a little bit different, a little bit special. We mentioned it's in Southeast Mississippi, but maybe there are some folks who are looking for a break from, I don't know, places like Chicago or LA or Atlanta. Is that something you try to leverage? The location,
Absolutely.
the lifestyle, maybe it's just a different kind of place to live?
Absolutely. So being an FQHC, we have a lot of tuition reimbursement options. So it does attract people from those more urban areas that are looking for a way to repay those school loans.
Sure.
Even for our doctors and nurses, they'd be eligible. But also work-life balance. It is not an area where we have a whole bunch of traffic. So just like you mentioned, I'm from up north as well.
Okay.
That is a huge benefit to go from one end of town to the other end in less than 30 minutes, even with traffic.
Yeah,
so
for
we
sure.
do try to leverage all of those things that make us unique and just a great place to live when attracting employees.
I love the South. I mean, I went to school in the Southeast. I love the South. I get why it's not freezing cold, the winters and all that. So, yeah, you've got a lot of selling points there. Kimberly, you sat down with Trish and Karen last year on the HR Happy Hour here from the iSolved Connect as well. I'd love for you to maybe comment, if you reflect back, say, on the last year of your experiences, both at the organization, just your hiring challenges, your people challenges. Maybe tell us a little bit about kind of the last year. How's it been?
So a lot of the same, actually. We still have the same challenges. We're still asking the same questions with how do we get talent, and then how do we retain our talent? And then we're always looking at our benefits, ways to enhance the employee experience. So a lot of the same, but what has changed, I think, is more of the mentality. Things are evening out. The pandemic isn't such a hot topic anymore. The Great Resignation isn't such a hot topic anymore. So now we're in this normal state of being of, all right, we have come out of all of this, and now it's just time to not necessarily get back to where we were, but what is our new normal?
Yeah.
And to determine what that is and get accustomed to it and kind of just feel it out.
Have there been some things that have just changed and they're never going back? Like, I know healthcare's not, we're not talking necessarily about, hybrid work or working from home so much, right? Because obviously we have patients and facilities and all of that. But are there other things, whether it's benefits or it's employee engagement programs, are there things that you had to put in place during the pandemic that now are just the way things are?
Oh, absolutely. I think when we think about the employee experience, we will never go back to it is a privilege to have a job. No, employees now, or our workforce now, wants to know, as an employee, what can the employer do for them? Just getting a paycheck is no longer sufficient.
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely a way of the past. And then as an HR department, as leadership, we have to think about what keeps people happy beyond a pay rate, because that it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, that's such a great point, Kimberly. And we've seen that a lot, right? As we got through the pandemic era and come out the other side, it's employees all over the place have kind of reevaluated their thoughts about work, the place of work in their lives, their ideas of work-life balance that you mentioned earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're at the isolved event, Kimberly, and I know you've been here at least one other time. I'd love for you to talk about, from an HR leader's perspective, the role of technology in both kind of the nuts and bolts of HR, right? The administration of HR, but then also about how it helps you meet those higher level talent challenges that you've described.
So technology is definitely a partner, and I think that instead of being fearful of it, we should embrace it. Because at the end of the day, it will make our job a lot easier. HR is a very process-driven industry. So we have things, open enrollment, time card management, onboarding templates. All these things can be automated and conducted in a way that makes us more efficient as practitioners. So finding ways to leverage the technology is our focus, our main focus in these coming years. And then ultimately it increases or it enhances the employee experience as well. They no longer have to pick up the phone or submit a ticket to get an answer for a question that they want to know the answer to right then and there. We can have our handbook online as part of our onboarding. There is Share and Perform that allows them to access documents that we upload. So it is a fantastic way to make our job easier.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And do you have, like, on your team, I'm curious, do you have a person or two who are kind of dedicated to looking at technology solutions and implementing, or is it across the whole organization, or how do you sort of divvy up those responsibilities?
I think my entire team is forward thinking when it comes to technology, and we all kind of take an area and we're constantly thinking of ways to make us better, make us more efficient. So it's definitely a team effort.
Yeah, and I feel like as HR sort of turns over, just like every other parts of the organization, right? It is an old kind of cliche, but I think there's a lot of truth in it, right? Newer entrants to the workforce, Gen Z cohort, et cetera, right? They just naturally want to, they're curious about the technologies or open to adopting them in their own work lives as well.
Absolutely, and they are vocal when something is dumb or broken. They will tell you this is not efficient, there has to be a better way.
Yeah.
And we value that type of thought process of let's not just think about how it's always been, but how can we can improve and get better.
Yeah, I'm going to ask one more question, which I'm going to try to ask almost everybody I talk to, like in the sort of the end of this year and into next year, which is we've heard so much in the last 6 months, maybe longer now, in the tech space about AI. We've heard it here this morning, here at the isolved Connect keynote. There's a lot of discussion about how AI is going to become embedded in HR solutions, et cetera, et cetera. I'd love to talk a little bit about that, AI from a perspective of, hey, in the workplace, in our HR solutions, and then, hey, how do you make sure as a director of HR that we don't sort of go overboard with technology and automation and we maintain that personal touch and that human experience? So
I would like to steal what Johnny C. Taylor said just last
Johnny's
month.
Great.
Yeah, he's the CEO of SHRM.
Yep.
He said AI plus HI being human intelligence, equals ROI. So if we keep that in mind, again, we're partners in here, and at the end of the day, we're in business to make a profit. Everything we need to do during the course of a day or business should have us, we should be thinking, what's the ROI on this? isolved, with all of their technology that they have been a true partner in me being an HR director, being able to show my leadership what the ROI is, and especially in a field like HR. Yeah. Sometimes it's so hard for us to prove our value.
Oh, it's often been impossible, right? For a long time, certainly.
It is. So to really take tangible data that we are given and then translate that to the ROI for our organization, and now I'm speaking the language of my leadership team. Yeah. So to dive, I do love technology. I am a little bit of a data junkie, and I love formulating that so that it is easy to read and shows our value.
So you're a super forward-thinking HR person. I've learned that already, like in 10 minutes of talking to you. Last question will be, what's your one piece of advice for anybody out there watching this, whether they're a small organization, mid-sized, maybe large as well, that's been a little reluctant, maybe a little reticent, or a little wary of, say, some of the risks of the new technologies? What would you say to them?
I would say find a way that it truly can enhance the business. You don't want to just do something because it's trendy. Find a way, if there is a way, for you to embrace it and help your organization, and why not?
And it's not going to bite. It's not going to hurt you, right?
It's not, yeah. They're
That's
not going to
awesome.
take over the world.
Kimberly, thank you for taking a few minutes to join us here at iSolved Connect. It's a super busy day. Lots going on here today. It's a beautiful place, too. I'm not going to lie. I've scoped out that pool a little bit. I'm going to try to find my way out there today. But so nice to see you, and thanks again for joining us.
Not a problem.
All right.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you. That's it for the HR Happy Hour Live. Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks, iSolved.